Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome to this, the latest in the Transport Infrastructure Efficiency Strategy Living Lab series of project-focused online events, which are designed to give you a better understanding of the work now underway to transform efficiency and productivity across the transport sector. My name is Antony Oliver, and I'm going to be your host this morning and ringmaster for this virtual discussion over the next 90 minutes or so. I'm a journalist by background, having edited New Civil Engineer magazine for 14 years and launched the ever popular infrastructure intelligence site in 2015. So I usually have a few questions up my sleeve, but I'll also be looking for you to contribute. So do use the question and answer box on your screens to get involved and put some questions to our speakers this morning. So what's today all about? Well, I think you're probably aware that Tides Living Lab is a collaboration of about 25 partners working with government, I3P and the Construction Innovation Hub to harness the power of data, technology, and modern methods of construction within live transport infrastructure projects. There's currently 10 projects underway, split into 3 groups: analytical consortium, the physical demonstrators, and the digital demonstrators. The aim is to use these projects to tackle systemic issues that really still obstruct the use, integration, and adaptation of innovation. That hopefully could drive productivity and wider social benefits through the major construction schemes that are going on right now. The National Skills Academy for Rail is the lead partner and the program manager for the program. And this is a 3rd virtual conference in the series. And I am very much aware that I am standing in as a poor substitute for your usual host, the Chief Exec of NSAR, Neil Robertson, who's currently, well, he's on the end of a potentially poor telephone line in Kuala Lumpur. So he sends his apologies and sends me instead. So as I say, I'm aware of a poor substitute, and I probably have a feeling he's in the audience somewhere. So I'm sure we're going to hear from him a bit later on. Anyway, apologies for having me. I'm sure you'll be welcoming Neil back to the next one, the 4th, which is happening next Friday. Right, today's discussion. It's all about Project 9, Advanced Logistics. As I say, it's the 2nd of 3 digital demonstrator projects in the Tides Living Labs. The project has, and we'll hear about these a bit later on, but the project's got 2 objectives. It's to design and build an end-to-end digital advanced platform for Tides Living Lab methods, modern methods of construction, logistics, and secondly, it's to deliver a range of digital solutions to track the status of an asset throughout its life cycle. The project is managed by Lamine Mahdjoubi of the University of West of England in Bristol. And it is my pleasure to welcome Lamine this morning to take you through the work. Good morning, Lamine. Thanks for joining us on this session. I'm going to let you crack on in just a few moments, Lamine, but just let me also introduce Nick West, head of the Programme Management Office at Transport for London and chair of the Tides Cost, Performance and Benchmarking Steering Group, who is going to be on hand to help highlight and drill in to some of the opportunities for real-world applications of this project, and really kind of put Lamine on the spot about how his academic work is really going to transfer into real-life solutions. Unfortunately, Nick is going to be a disembodied voice in the ether because he's having problems with his webcam. But Nick, I believe you are there. Is that right? Give me a
yes. Good morning. Thank you.
That is brilliant to hear you, your voice this morning, Nick. As I say, he's got a face for radio, so that he's ideally placed for this kind of gig. Right. Just a reminder before I hand over to Lamine, do let me have your comments, do let me have your questions and any points you want to make to either Lamine or Nick as we go through the session. And I'll put them to the panelists and we'll get the discussion going as we move through the 90 minutes. So, Lamine, Project 9, Advanced Logistics, a simple question to kick you off. I mean, what's the project all about? Why is it needed? How do you see it transforming the future of transport infrastructure, delivery and management? All of that in about 10 minutes, please. No, take your time, take us through the project and let us know how you're getting on. The floor is yours, Lamine.
Thank you very much, Anthony, for the introduction. The talk, as Antony explained, today is about the advanced logistics, the work we have done in Project 9, transforming logistics by harnessing digital twin technology. So I would like to thank you all for taking the time to attend my talk, and I hope you learn a few things about the exciting developments in this project. So I'm Professor Lamine Mahdjoubi. I'm a professor of digital built environment. I've been involved in the digital world for over 20 years. Did various projects in the relation to construction, IT, and I am also the co-director of the Center for Architecture and Built Environment Research at the University of the West of England. So the advanced logistics. So there is a lot of policy change in the last, I would say, I have a sea change in the last 10 years or so, with the obviously the deployment of BIM, which is becoming, excuse me, so the deployment of BIM, which is now mandated for all public projects, and there is a wider adoption for also private projects, and the wider adoption also in terms of digital solution by the built environment. So there has been a series of policies, and I just picked examples of the IPA transforming infrastructure performance, the construction playbook, and the TIEs exploit digital technologies and standardize assets. So all of them are emphasizing the need for our industry, in particular the infrastructure and the construction industry, to adopt these digital solutions. And in particular, there has been greater emphasis in the last few years in terms of capitalizing on the potential of modern methods of construction to deliver significant improvement in productivity and efficiency. And as we know, in particular, the construction industry is one of the least productive, and there has been, you know, a drive over the years to address this particular issue. So there also is why I would say growing adoption of off-site manufacturing in the last few years to deliver efficiencies in the industry, and part of that is you know, carbon emission, which is coming to the fore in the industry. So for instance, the TIEs policy is pushing the standardization of common parts, designs, and processes to maximize efficiencies, and also the increased use of standardized and interoperable elements. And the advanced logistics and labor is essential issues in this policy drive and policy context. So just to basically, what is the problem? So the current issue is the fragmentation or approach in offsite construction, supply chain, logistics. I mean, the construction industry is notoriously known to be a fragmented industry, and this issue has been exacerbated with the transition to offsite construction, which is making it, I would say, more complex and more challenging. So you have industries such as construction and manufacturing, industries that hardly worked in the past. So there is a flagrant lack of coordination and common approach, a lack of common digital tools, and there are various examples which in the press and in even recent projects which has illustrated this issue of the the disconnect between, in particular, manufacturing and construction. There's a lack of common standards and specification, and the lack of adoption of logistics modern methods of construction, such as just-in-time delivery, which is an essential issue in this project. And all of these have had obviously detrimental effects on collaborative working and project performance. So as Antony has outlined, there has been already talks about Project 8, which is the ISCC delivered by Costain, and Project 10, which was focused on project social value transport infrastructure calculator. And today's talk is focused on one of the digital demonstrators, which is the advanced logistics assisting the smart planning of advanced off-site logistics. So the TIES advanced logistics is, as Antony outlined, is focused on design and build an end-to-end digital advanced platform using the digital twin technologies, Internet of Things, to transform the MMC and improve just-in-time delivery and thus contributing to the improvement of project performance and productivity. It seeks to deliver a range of digital solutions, which we are going to show you this morning, or share with you this morning. And these solutions enable to track the status of an asset throughout its life cycle. So the key features of this advanced logistics platform is it supports better decision making by basically delivering the digital twinning, building information modeling, or asset information modeling, and physical assets. It has got, there is a great emphasis on standardization. So in terms of asset data points, we're all structured according to the latest either British standards or ISO standards. They are quite comprehensive, as we will outline later. It has got benchmarking intelligence. So we are currently developing an app similar to Google Maps, which is focused on HGVs, delivery routes. So we take drivers through step by step through finding a delivery route which takes into consideration the availability of routes for HGVs, in addition to minimizing the impact on carbon and disruption to road users. It has got capability to deliver the golden thread of information by mining the legacy data, or keeping track of the status of an asset as it moves throughout its life cycle. It has also got actionable intelligence to identify asset delay and receive notification. The decision maker can receive daily notification to take corrective measures. We have a mobile app which is available on different mobile platforms, which enables the scanning of assets using cost-effective. So everyone has got smartphone now. So we developed these apps to make it as cost-effective and easy to scan and tag the asset. And this information is then integrated with the BIM platform, which I will share with you later. It has got it supports project performance. in terms of improved certainty of offsite delivery and improved productivity. As I shared with you, so we developed like an intuitive color coding, which enables a decision maker in a glance to visualize the project performance, to identify asset status throughout the life cycle, whether it's manufactured, whether it's currently in storage or in transit or in delivery, and obviously with the capability of querying and interrogating the data. And last but not least, it supports asset data flow, so seamless data flow between asset graphical, which is the BIM model, and the non-graphical data. So that's, I think Antony wants to take over from here and basically ask some questions. Or do you want me to carry on, Antony?
No. Well, I mean, I was going to talk about. I was going to bring Nick in there, but what you're trying to create there is a single source of truth. What do you mean? Just talk us through this final slide you got up as you put it up there, Lamine.
Yeah.
This is the ultimate aim of what you're trying to create. Then a single source of truth. Tell us about that.
Yeah. So the aim of the project is, like I said, the disconnect and the fragmentation of the industry is obviously affecting the performance and affecting productivity, as I outlined earlier. So the platform is bringing all the stakeholders, the whole supply chain, and the various industries, like I outlined earlier, like construction, manufacturing, logistics, and on-site construction, bring them to share a single source of truth, which is the shared model and shared asset data. So it's not only about a shared BIM model; it's sharing data, and they are able to track that data and interrogate it as the status of the asset evolves throughout the life cycle. So yeah, sorry. Yeah.
So wherever you are on the supply chain, whether you're an architect, a client, a manufacturer, whatever role you have, there's an access to a single shared model, there's access to all the same data. Basically, it gives you a standardized way of everybody viewing what is going on. Is that from the start of the project? Does that take you all the way through to through delivery, to design, delivery, but all the way through to operation?
Yeah. So that's a very, very good question, Antony. So the platform has got a single dashboard, and as I explained earlier, mobile apps which are working in coordination, and this is takes the asset data from early design until, because of the aim of the project, it's taking us until asset installation, but because we're using a QR code, but using other tagging industries such as RFID and so on, there is a potential to extend that to operation maintenance.
Okay. Well, let's get into actually what you're doing and how you see that kind of problem being solved in a few moments. Let me get stuck into actually, I suppose, the problem you're trying to solve, and Nick, bring you in. I mean, Nick, from the perspective of an arm's length body like TfL, I mean, is this how you see the problem that needs to be solved?
Yeah, first of all, yes, thank you, Lamine. That was really insightful to go through and actually understand what the intent of the project is. So, absolutely. So we've got some significant challenges in all arm's length bodies, but in TfL, obviously one of our key areas of project delivery is into underground stations or into quite heavily operational areas. And I'm really interested to see when we say end-to-end with respect to logistics, because a problem we have is obviously in central London, traffic and all of the challenges you get around that. But we've got some quite significantly challenging environments where often the unforeseen impacts can be inside the station door or within the environment we're trying to build. So it'd be really interesting to see how you're tagging through the life cycle, whether it really does get down to that point in time. So that's one thing I'm really interested in. And also, speaking from experience, one of our major programs, the Piccadilly Line Upgrade, they've adopted a really innovative and collaborative approach, and they've implemented a number of systems working with Innovate UK. And one of the systems they're working on implementing is something called ProjectWise, which is a very similar aim at that single source of truth. And it's very early in the project. As we know, we're going through requirements and design and entering into much more exciting, from a construction point of view, stages. But the benefits we are already seeing with interfacing with the supply chain and the operations element of the organization by having a single source of truth has been really good. Very collaborative. And that is trying to challenge one of our biggest opportunities in TfL is we're pretty good at building stuff and getting stuff in the ground and turning it on. Where we often struggle is that handover of assets into the operational world. And I've had a number of conversations with the Piccadilly Line Upgrade team, and because we've got the user right back in this early stage looking at this shared information, we're projecting some real good collaboration as we get to that handover stage. So it's all really exciting. I have a number of concerns, which I'm sure, not concerns, questions, which I'm sure a lot of people on the call do. And also, just putting on my very straightforward project manager hat, I'm really interested to see how this directly benefits performance, how we can translate this information into our performance metrics and measures, but more importantly, how we can use that to make better decisions within a project environment. So yeah, I'm really interested in this.
So Nick, just to clarify, when you say performance, you mean as from the TfL perspective, that's performance when you're actually planning and delivering new projects such as Piccadilly Upgrade, but it also means performance in terms of running the network, which is, after all, the majority of your world.
Yeah, absolutely. And when we talk about performance, it's all things. We've got targets we're trying to achieve with respect to carbon and stuff like that. So it's how it can give the organisation, both project side and operational side, but how we can actually tangibly use these tools to deliver better performance in a performance scale. Yeah.
I mean, as an ALB, as a client organisation, Nick, I mean, we've had BIM. BIM was a great salvation. We've had digital twins, and well, we still have BIM. We still have digital twins. We've now got advanced logistics. I mean, logistics perhaps makes people think of Amazon and deliveries. I mean, is it the right terminology? Is this just another way of describing the same thing? I mean, what makes this project for you so potentially different and game changing?
So I think it's building on and almost showing an application of all of those principles. And I think, like any kind of system or any kind of like BIM's a prime example, a lot of all of these great steps forward, especially in trying to create standardization and with data structure and information, but regardless of what we're doing, I think fundamentally it comes down to the application and the behaviors and the collaboration of the people using that data. So I think all systems, all tools we use provide functionality which can add great value, but all organizations, be it public sector or private sector, it's that application of and that behavior, not just of the project or the operations team, but how the behavior and the culture of the organizations make full use of these tools.
Okay, and Lamine, as you've been preparing for this project, as you've been putting the project together, I mean, who have you spoken to really get a great understanding of that question? I mean, have you necessarily been focusing on one sector or one part of the supply chain more than others? I mean, how do you go about that?
So, I mean, we like we have been working in the context of this project with I would say the leading ALBs in the UK in the infrastructure sector. So we collaborated very closely with TfL, with National Highways, with colleagues from HS2 and other ALBs, and in particular we worked very closely with the major contractors like Costain, which are delivering major infrastructure projects in the UK. So this is definitely we don't want to recreate the wheel, but we believe we are addressing essential issue in our industry, and definitely a gap in the market in terms of delivering solutions which tries to bring our industrial players together, in particular with like I explained, as we are making the increasing transition towards offsite construction and the challenges. And for instance, I think Nick has already emphasized the importance of standardization, but we have learned through this project and other projects which we have been involved, unless we standardize our industry and standardize the way we collect the data, with the way we structure it and the way we analyze it, there is no way forward, you know. So we have to speak almost the same language to be able to understand each other and move forward in this industry.
Final point, I want to get into actually an explanation really what you've been doing and how you're solving this problem, Lamine. But I mean, the reality is that the industry has been wrestling with these problems, whether it's fragmentation or problems around actually getting the industry to collaborate for many decades. And I suppose why is technology now the solution? Is this a cultural issue that you've really got to build into your solution? And I suppose building on that, what have you seen about the organization's cultures that you've been working with, which you think makes them more open to this kind of change?
I mean, like I outlined at the start of my presentation, I've been involved in the digital built environment world for over 20 years. And the industry had an appetite, to change and to adopt innovative methods, innovative techniques. But I have never, in the last decade, I have never seen, I would say, an appetite for change. We have seen it.
Why is that? Why is it about money? Is it about resources? What's driving this sudden appetite for change then?
I think it's the industry has realized that. In my mind, there are two drivers. So there is definitely an industry has been struggling. If I'm honest with you, it's an industry with low productivity. There hasn't been. It's not making massive profit. To invest in innovation and so on. So there has been, if I'm honest with you, a top-down approach, which is the government has been pushing this change, and initially there has been a bit of resistance, but it's unbelievable the change, the sea change in culture we have witnessed in the last 5 or 10 years.
Nick, what's driving this change from TfL's perspective? What's driving this change that you're seeing from the industry's perspective? What's changed now? What's happening that's going to really make this take off?
So, well, there's a number of things which are driving. I mean, I think everybody involved in a project and an operational space is looking for improvement on that's why they're coming to work. They're trying to improve performance, as Lamine says, maybe for bottom line or profit. But in TfL's case, we're trying to improve performance to deliver a better, safer, and more reliable network for Londoners. You know, so the better performance levels we reach, the more we can invest in increasing those really key elements of TfL. So why is that change happening? Sorry, how's that change? I mean, so I think it's very straightforward, and common sense says if everybody's trying to do the same thing, providing the same data, when you're assessing that data, you can identify opportunities and learn lessons from that. It triggers areas where you may be being inefficient. So I think it's just a natural progression of improvement. Having a solid data structure with the tools and the capability and the behavior to actually use that will benefit and drive performance. You know, so we may have different underlying requirements with respect to our main requirement is to deliver a better, more reliable service. But these tools and data and information, and that, especially that collaboration around this single source of truth, that is so important. It's improving performance, and data is and information is vital, and it's being demonstrated to support that.
And ultimately, from an organisation like yours, Nick, it's about creating, I suppose, the headroom for you to focus more on your customers and to give better value to them, to create more social value from the activities that you are doing, I imagine.
Well, yeah, absolutely. And so an organisation like TfL, and I'm sure many of the ARBs, we've got so many assets that have been renewed or installed many times, and our data is in varying levels of maturity. You know, as we move forward in our organisation design for the operational space, we almost introduce bigger challenges to ourselves when we're looking at our legacy data. And that's why I think by focusing on projects with those standardized requirements as projects go through the life cycle, you know, we can see the benefit a lot easier in new projects, rather than trying to assess what in some cases is a patchwork quilt of data. And a lot of effort is spent in normalizing and trying to figure out what that data's saying. Whereas this approach almost, and BIM and all of those good things, has given us that foundation to build on, so at least all of our future data is in a state, and then we can really start generating that value.
Great stuff. Okay, look, let's cut to the chase now. And by the way, can I remind you that, you know, some really interesting points that Lamine and Nick have been making there. Fire your questions over to me, and I'll put those directly to all your comments, and I'll put them to Lamine and Nick live as they come in there. You know, do you agree that this is a problem that needs solving? Do you agree that that we need to change the culture of the industry to embrace data more? How are you going to go about that? Let us have your comments on that. Lamine, we get it. You know, we understand the problem. What's your academic solution? How are you going to change the world?
Yeah. So, excuse me a second.
Not through PowerPoint, by the look of it.
Definitely not through PowerPoint. So so the as I outlined earlier, we have a series of deliverables. So one of them is the Asset Data Intelligent Management System called ADAMS, which is basically a digital monitoring framework that delivers bidirectional asset data integration and synchronization between the what we call the asset data points and the BIM model. The other deliverables has been a comprehensive asset data points, which is almost like a template, which allows clients, designers, and other stakeholders it's user friendly in terms of capturing their requirements. And when I talk about capturing the requirements, it's not only about project requirements. So it's quite comprehensive. It includes schedule data. It includes also the contact details about the the details of the various stakeholders involved in the project. And I would explain that a little bit further later. And these requirements capture not only design, it captures manufacturing, it captures the requirements during logistics, transport logistics, and again on-site activities. We have developed a tool which is Bim Asset Tagging, and basically this tool is we know that one of the obstacle for the adoption of asset tagging in our industry is how it could be cumbersome and time consuming to be able to go in the BIM environment and to tag each asset with the associated data and information. So we have developed a solution which enables the automated synchronization between the asset data point and associated BIM and asset data model. As I explained earlier, we have smartphones, which not, by the way, it's not only for scanning and tagging an asset. It has got the same level of information as the platform, so it's a quite comprehensive in terms of its data content. We are currently not this is the last piece of deliverable which is almost completed. So it's similar to Google Drive, but it's targeted at HGVs. Like I said, it takes into consideration the availabilities of roads in the UK cities. It takes into consideration the implication on cost, fuel and labor and so on, and the carbon footprint and disruption to road users. So the advanced what you call ADAMS, the Advanced Data Intelligent Management System, it's like I said, it synchronizes the data between the BIM model and the scanning, the asset data scanning, as well as with the optimized delivery routes, and it has got capability to provide daily notifications, so that we have two types of notifications. So there are the notifications in terms of keeping the whole team aware of changes in the projects, and there are actionable notifications, which means if there are something which we believe to be, for instance, project delays, the appropriate decision makers will receive a notification to take actions. And also it offers a range of analytics, which I will outline a little bit later. So the asset data points to us, this is essential issue. So it's not only about the graphics, it's about the BIM model and associated information. So this is quite comprehensive in terms of it has all the asset data in one point. So this includes the asset characteristics, the identification of the various stakeholders. It has got schedule data, carbon data, and we are currently extending it to even include cost data. It has got and that similar kind of information about in the manufacturing stage and logistics and on-site activities. So it's the information is quite comprehensive, and it's captured throughout for the asset lifecycle. Clearly defined asset requirements and agreed deliverables, and it's aligned with the latest ISO and British standards We have also been talking, part of our consultation, we have been talking in the initial stage of the project with BSI, and we adopted the UPIN, which is Universal Persistent Identification Number. So it means each asset will have unique ID. It's like a passport that travels with the asset until installation and beyond. So the Bim Asset Tagging, like I said, this is like a bespoke digital solution we delivered, and it basically takes the data from the comprehensive asset data points and synchronizes it with the shared Bim parameters. So it makes a very cumbersome, very time-consuming job more quicker and more intuitive, and potentially more accurate as well. So it improves the accuracy and reliability of asset tagging within the BIM environment. The asset data scanning, so as outlined in the mobile phone, so it's not only it has got capability to create a QR code associated with the unique asset, and the QR code is then used to tag the asset, and then whenever it's scanned, the information is automatically synchronized with the BIM model. So so for instance, when the asset is fabricated or manufactured, when you scan the QR code, the BIM model is automatically updated to notify the team that the status of the asset has changed into a different status. It's cost effective. So part of the consultation of the with the industry, one of the obstacles for the adoption of asset tagging, asset scanning is cost. It says we need to buy specialized readers, we need to buy specialist equipment and so on. So everyone has got mobile, so you can use any operating system, either iOS or Android, and you'll be able to access the app and then scan, tag the asset and to integrate the information with the like I explained earlier, the single source of truth. It's quite cool. So it's not only it's not an application app which is only used for scanning and so on. So the app has got the same capabilities and the level of non-graphical data as the desktop platform. The only difference is it can't contain the BIM model because it will kill, the mobile phones haven't got the same capability to like a laptop, to contain the same level of information. So that's the only difference. But in terms of asset data, you are able to interrogate the data, but also edit it and change it if needed. The other deliverable is the optimized delivery route, like I explained earlier. So this is similar to Google Maps, which is targeted for HGVs. It takes into consideration route availability in UK cities, so it's quite up to date. Takes into consideration height restrictions and so on to make sure that assets are delivered on time. So it takes the application is integrated with the schedule, so the logistics personnel will know exactly when the asset need to be delivered, and also because they have got access to the single source of truth, again, they know exactly where the asset is waiting for them, so there is no misunderstanding. It's improved telematics and last mile delivery, so the on-site personnel, site manager, construction manager, will receive notification when the HGV is within a few miles of delivery, so that preparation can take place for the asset to be delivered smoothly onto the site. It has got I would say very granular carbon footprint calculator, because it takes into, so we are using DVLA information, so that it takes into consideration the MOT data, so that the carbon footprint is personalized to the type of vehicle that is delivering the asset. And also it seeks to reduce the impact on the road users, and as Nick alluded to, in particular take into consideration the impact on safety of users, and reducing the congestion or not overburdening the already congested roads in major cities. So it has got like, this is some of the capabilities of the system. It's the golden thread of information. So it's possible to mine the legacy data, asset data, so to find out who installed this particular asset on which site. So you will be able to interrogate not only legacy data, but also all the data associated with the project. And I will outline very briefly the platform, to just give you a feel for exactly what it's delivering. So this is some of the analytical capabilities of the platform.
Before you do that, Lamine, can I just bring Nick in, and just also to say I've got some questions teed up from the audience, so thanks. Get some more of those coming in. I'll come to those in a moment. But Nick, I mean, this all sounds fantastic. This sounds like a set of solutions to the problem we spoke about earlier. But for an organisation like TfL, I mean, how do you actually make use of all that information? Does it sound like something which you could embrace?
So yeah, there's a lot of really high value stuff here, and I think both to the operational world and the asset management world, as well as the project world. So there's definitely things here which being brought into a project environment could add value. I do have some concern though with respect to again, this comes down to behaviour and culture, but this is quite, I believe that if we're looking at an asset and an asset by asset life cycle maturity stage, I would be really interested to know, because how we pull together the systems integration. So most projects in our environment are typically quite easy to dig the hole and to build the platforms. Where the real challenging area comes is when we're trying to pull all of these systems together to be able to open the door to run new trains. So I'd be really interested to see on how that would be managed in this, because also if we are looking at things at an asset by asset level, it could give a false indication to progress. So that's one thing I'm really interested in. I really like the idea of the tracking of vehicles. I think that's got a lot of opportunity, especially with respect to safety, car Forbes and all of that good stuff. But like I say, getting an asset to the front door of an operational facility is half the battle. The other half the battle is we're working in an environment that is sometimes very reactive to external things. So we can make benefit for sure, but I do see some areas where it could be evolved, working with more with projects just to get better evolution. So they're my concern. Well, they're my thoughts. Okay. Anthony.
So okay, let me just we can tackle those a bit, but just, do these solutions now exist? I mean, do these 5 areas that you've talked about, this, the tagging, the scanning, the route planning, do they all exist? Are they available?
They are available. So if you on a mobile phone, you type TIES Advanced Logistics, and you'll be able to download the mobile app and use it. Yeah, and
Okay.
also it's available on the desktop, which is I'm hoping to show you some of the capabilities.
Okay. Well, just respond to the points that the concerns that Nick had there around, particularly around the sort of the area of systems integration, actually moving from gathering this data and using this data to actually build an asset, deliver an asset, to actually getting to the crux of a project, which is around systems integration. Are you aware of that? Are you trying to cover off that particular concern?
Yeah, I mean, it's an endemic issue in industry, and this is linked to the issue I raised earlier when I showed the slide about the fragmentation of the industry. The issue is in the reality within the same organization, you find that different departments using different software, different solutions, and most of the time they don't talk to each other, and it's which makes I mean it's obviously the simple things. It's people cannot share in some cases data and information. In most cases it may lead to misunderstanding and a loss of information. So that's not something new, and this is, I mean, this is not going to be the solutions to all problems, but it's addressing an essential issue, which is to bring a supply chain to use one platform, one source of truth. They are able to see the same data, to interrogate, not only visualize it, but to be able to interrogate it, to be able, it's a decision support system at the end, so it's not something that is just to be, to automate it and for them to take it as granted. So it's okay. So they are able to use it to develop a common understanding.
But it relies on the supply chain being completely embedded in this and committed to it. And it just takes us to a question from Timothy Betts. Timothy says, was it difficult to overcome challenges of data IPR, intellectual property rights, with asset suppliers? Who were most keen to work with you on this? So how did you to what extent have you been out there talking to industry, and and what was the reaction? What challenges were there around asset IPR?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's I mean, this is a very good question. This is like I said, I mean, it's not an easy to change the industry. Like I said, been involved in this field for a long time, and there is always a resistance to change because it's disruptive, isn't it? So it's you have to adopt new methods and new. So we have been talking to various, like I outlined earlier. So we're talking to people from various not only from the infrastructure and construction industry. We had various meetings with BSI to see what kind of coming in terms of standards and future developments. We have been also talking to even the scanning and tagging standard developments developers, to see, and all of them have outlined there is challenges and the resistance.
So are those challenges? Well, just going into what Tim said, are those challenges? Are they commercial? Are they cultural? Are they just people it's too difficult to do, or is it an actual commercial barrier that's stopping you getting involved there?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is why we're trying. I mean, through this solution, I've been kind of emphasizing the importance of delivering cost-effective solutions, which addresses the the issue of costs, and I mean, hopefully through this platform, even the issue of easier of adoption, because I mean, for instance, the starting point is BIM, because it's widely, I mean, it's widely adopted now. It's almost accepted in our industry that this is the standard way of delivering projects. So this is, but pushing the boundaries of BIM to do to be able to be used as not only as a platform to develop projects, to extract information and so on, to be able to use it as an integrated platform, you know, so that and also bridge the gap between industries which never work together. So it's some, like, I agree, some cultural issues, but also some commercial aspects as well.
Well, building on that, a question coming from Kevin Tozer from Network Rail, who says, you know, what do Lamine and Nick see as the main barriers to implementing this integrated digital system, and how do they think it can be overcome? Nick, I'm going to start with you. Nick, what do you think the main barriers, as somebody who's in this, I suppose, a similar position to Kevin, as a client organization? What are the main barriers?
So
how could they be overcome?
Just checking I wasn't on mute. So I kind of touched on it earlier. I think we as an industry, especially in the ARB space, we need to be quite mature and manage expectations. I strongly believe that the data sets, no matter how mature or or immature they are, or historically structured in one way or another, if we take this approach and look forward rather than back, and actually really take these ginormous steps forward, as we're doing on the Piccadilly line upgrade project, and start doing stuff like this under the standard and building that, it will evolve through time, and the benefits will start showing themselves a lot quicker. So I think the barrier is almost like an expectation that you use a system like this and instantly the whole organization's performance is going to increase. This is a journey. When it comes to data, I think most of us know organizations struggle with data quality, and when we are installing new assets and developing new projects, that's a clean slate to make sure that at the end of that project, the data we're handing over is really valuable. So I think the biggest barrier, Kevin, and a really good question, because I know you've probably got similar challenges to us in TFL, is managing those expectations and understanding these benefits need to be, you know, we need to grow and do it properly, because we just almost go around in circles trying to do something tangible rather than invest in what is going to be a long journey.
But does it also mean working with I suppose more enlightened manufacturers, more enlightened suppliers who can accelerate the development and I suppose collaborate more and share more? Would you advise Lamine to seek out certain parts of the supply chain who are more capable of driving forward?
So I actually think the supply chain want to be innovative. They want to be. I don't see that as a problem. I mean, we've done numerous surveys where sometimes the contracts we go into limit the supply chain innovation, and you know, it's almost can be quite suppressing in some cases. This is why the Piccadilly line is taking a really different approach to that. So I don't actually think it's the supply chain. I think there may be challenges within the supply chain when it comes to competitiveness, especially if we're sharing data and there's conflicts of interest there. That might be a challenge, but I don't see the supply chain holding the advancement of this up. That's my opinion.
Okay. I mean, I suppose I look at the routing example, Lamine, and I suppose, you know, to what extent do you need to avoid, I suppose, remaking Google Maps, remaking Waze, I suppose remaking some of the systems that, you know, we've all seen a massive transformation in home deliveries, and, you know, being able to get an app now which tells you where your parcel, which one of your neighbours your parcel has been delivered to. I mean, to what extent? I'm sure that's not the way they're supposed to work. But to what extent, do you have to try and avoid, I suppose, reworking, remaking, reinventing the wheels that already exist?
Very good point, Anthony. That's I mean, that has been the concern from the beginning. I mean, I wish I captured it and shared with you in the news. In one of the newspapers this morning, there was a picture of a Tesco HGV stock in a very narrow road in one of the UK cities. So this is a common problem. I mean, we have to bear in mind if once off-site construction becomes mainstream, there will be a lot of delivery of assets in towns and cities throughout the UK. So this is, to me, logistics is an essential issue that need to address this issue and need to minimize the impact on already a critical issue. So, for instance, the solution we are delivering, which I believe doesn't, like Google Maps and so on, don't have, is it takes into consideration the road availability for high good vehicles, and depending on their size and classification, it has got a more I would say granular way of calculating the impact of carbon. So these are I mean, I'm not saying this is going to be the solution, but it's pushing the boundary.
So what you're trying to do is take all the best bits for what exists at the moment and try to, I suppose, make them more fit for, useful to this industry. You've got on your screen there a very colourful picture, and I think you are going to talk us through, because I suppose what folks probably want to know is, what does it actually look like? Can you take us through, how does the app work? What would somebody see? Take us through that. Give us a bit of insight into what it actually looks like in reality. Can you do that?
Yeah, thank you very much, Anthony. So this is the user interface of the advanced logistics, and as you can see, so this is like I explained earlier, a single dashboard, a single source of truth, which is the BIM model. It's the color is not to make it pretty. It means something. So as you see on the
so if Nick as a program manager, he would have a site like this, which gives him access to all of his projects that are going on at any one moment.
Absolutely. Okay. So in a glance, a project manager, we have taken the earlier version. I'll have to emphasize that the earlier version of the Ava footbridge, which is one of the demonstrator projects, to exemplify how the system works. So if you look at the color coding, so it has got like whether it detects whether an asset is in pre-manufacturing stage, whether it's manufactured, whether it's currently in storage, whether it's in transit, offloaded on site and installed on site. So the color coding will be already give you in a glance an overview of how the project is evolving. But beyond that, you can obviously, being BIM, you will be able to interrogate the information. So if I click on a particular asset, it gives me comprehensive.
Sorry, Nick, can you mute your microphone? Sorry, Nick, sorry, Lamine. Nick, can you just pop on mute? Thanks. Sorry, Lamine.
Yeah. So it's as you see, all the associated information with the assets is available in one place. And this is why I emphasize the importance of everything available in one place. So you are not, so it's not disjointed, and you have to go look for the information in various places. So in addition
whether that's a piece of glass or a nut or a bolt or a foundation element, or whether it's a gasket, it's all in there, every single piece of every element.
Absolutely, and it has got details. So, for instance, I'll just give you an example here. It's the manufacturer, the contact details, the address, the maybe even link to their website. So let's say in the future you would like to interrogate the data and find out more who delivered this particular asset. You will find the information available there. So it has got the date of purchase. It has got all the detail associated with that asset in one place.
Okay, so just on that, just to clarify, so have you done some analysis to say, well, how far down into that do you need to go? Do you need to categorize every washer? How granular do you need? Because every bit of data you gather, it's got value, but it's also got a cost. So how do you kind of make that cutoff between we need to stop there and we need to start here? How do you do that?
Yeah, I mean, I think the very important point about the trade-off of the hunger for more data, more information, and the overload of information. That is a very important point. I mean, in this particular case, these are associated with BIM components. So if you are delivering a component which is going to be manufactured separately, that's how we the level of trade-off we found. So it's so for instance, this piece of roof is going to be manufactured separately. That is the level of detail we drilled into. So the other capability, so the system has got I would say inbuilt intelligence. So for instance here, and this is by, like I said, especially in the initial stage of the project, talking to manufacturers, talking to designers, talking to logistics personnel and project managers. So the trying to predict, some of the impact on on-site delivery. So, for instance, the system, and this is based primarily on BIM data. It's able to predict what type of crane is suitable to lift this asset in place. And again, it's creating already the intelligence so that the various stakeholders could discuss that, and once the further information is available during manufacturing, that information could be very easily updated and revised. It also it predicts the type of high good vehicles that can carry the asset in place. It has got an embedded embodied carbon calculator. It takes into consideration the BIM data and also the carbon factor from the ICE database, which is widely used as a system as a carbon calculator in the UK. So these are all
the carbon of its manufacture, of its transport, of its installation. That's all bound into that particular calculation.
It's currently it's at the design stage. As the asset starts moving from into manufacturing into logistics. So, for instance, the mobile app which we are using, the optimized delivery route, has got a carbon calculation, and it will be added into. So you'll be able to track the carbon footprint of the asset as it moves throughout its life cycle.
Okay, and then just tell me about the colors. The colors they mean something. I can see on the top there, obviously a different color for different stage in its life cycle. That presumably gives you, the project manager, an idea of whether they're on track or not, does it?
Absolutely, and so so I'll just give you a quick demo for what is the mobile app. Obviously, we are not able to show how it updates the BIM model. So, for instance, this particular asset, it's saying it's in storage. So let's say its status has changed. So instead of being in storage, it's currently in transit. So the mobile app will automatically update the BIM model to show that that the status of that particular asset has changed, and in few seconds, it's as you can see, the if I click on it now, so the color has changed, and also if I interrogate the asset, it's showing that the asset is currently, the status is in transit. And as I said, the power of this tool is that it's able to capture and update the asset information as the project evolves throughout the various stages.
Nick, does that sound useful to you?
There's a treasure trove of useful stuff here. It's being able to drill down to that level of detail and data is so valuable to the entire life cycle. So when it comes to a construction manager, planning access, etc., that's really valuable to get that early insight of what's being forecasted. It's great for the operator and the asset maintainer to almost be able to drop in and just get an idea of what's coming, familiarize themselves. So there's absolutely a treasure trove of opportunities here. So yeah, it looks exciting. As I said, I kind of touching back to my concern I raised earlier. This would need to be used in conjunction with other performance measurements. I would worry that people would see green all over the place on all assets, but they don't actually work together. But that's as a supporting set of management information to good systems integration strategy and management, it's really powerful. There's a lot of great stuff here.
So the concern there is that even though stuff will be installed on site, it doesn't actually work, and that's perhaps the next step in this process is has it been tested? Has it passed its operational functionality?
Absolutely. So when you are opening something to the public, you've got to have all of your systems working to a level where they're safe to use the system. So it's like I said, this would be great supporting information for the systems integration, kind of like management, and it's challenging enough. But from a pure CapEx point of view, that's one of our biggest challenges. This is going to support it. It's not going to fix it. But besides that, there's great information here, which I can see can add value, especially for the design phase. It's really, really powerful.
And is there a risk? I mean, notwithstanding, obviously, if your project manager's colorblind, I imagine that may have slight hindrance. Lamine discussed. But is there a risk of having too much information? I mean,
yeah, and there's also a risk of authority. So if you've got too much information, anyone can make a comment and actually potentially influence decisions being made. So I think with this system, you need to have a level of like governance over who, it's great information, but who can actually influence it. That can often cause delay when you've got a lot of people having an opinion on something. They're all kind of saying the same thing but different. That delays projects probably more so than no decision. So yeah, I mean, there's a whole behavioural and cultural side running in parallel, but information and data, it's useful. You've just got to use it properly.
Okay, give an example. Can you share us? I mean, we talked about embodied carbon. Can you give us an example of how that carbon assessment tool works in practice? Then, I mean, you've got embodied carbon there, but I mean, how does it track that embodied carbon throughout the life cycle?
Yeah, I mean, like I explained earlier, embodied carbon is obviously becoming a critical issue, and all ALBs are challenged to account for the embodied carbon. So talking to various contractors, you know, most of them have got an appetite, you know, to account for the carbon footprint of an asset, not only, you know, at design, but also when it's on site, you know, like an asset moves from one place to another, there is a carbon footprint during asset installation and so on. So how do we account for all of this, you know? And there are, I mean, in terms of BIM, there has been a lot of work recently to address that. But as far as we know, there is a shortage of solutions to account for the journey of an asset as it moves into various stages. So it's not, yeah. I was going, sorry, Oliver, sorry.
No, I was just going to say, going back to some of the questions, one of the questions really, which is around the data. I suppose the data you're viewing there is only as good as the data, I suppose, which is put into it. I mean, are we overcoming some of these interoperability issues around being able to transfer data accurately from one system to another system without losing any integrity of that data?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is so. For instance, what we have adopted in terms of BIM, we know that the various organizations are using, you know, BIM software from various suppliers. So it could be Revit, or it could be Bentley, or it could be other type of solutions. So we used industry foundation classes, which are a neutral format, you know, so you're able to import your model in IFC to be able to overcome that issue of interoperability. And having, like I said, I mean, what we have learned in our involvement in this project is sometimes having too much data is better than having very little data, you know. So this particular solution and other similar solutions support or try to encourage decision making based on information and data, so evidence-based information. And I think this is to me is a good way to go forward, you know, because otherwise it's going to be based on intuition and people's views.
So you're having conversations with the likes of Building Smart, the Centre for Digital Built Britain, and Digital Twin Hub, just to make sure that all of those issues are the same issues, or that you're dealing with them in the same way.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. What have you put up on the screen now there?
Yeah, just to show you some of the other capabilities. So for instance, this is give you a glance of the asset distribution. So I have got so many assets which are currently manufactured, so many assets which are in storage and transit. You are able to interrogate the data. So give you an example, and this particular bar charts will deliver some it validates the asset delivery against the schedule. So it identifies whether some assets are past the due date. So for instance, I can interrogate the data, so I'm able to identify which assets are overdue. So it could be, so what we mean by overdue. So if an asset is past the planned date, is automatically identified, and the notification is sent to the project manager or the client and decision makers, so that corrective action can be taken.
So it gives you an early warning that your columns are not actually hitting the manufacturing target, so they're probably going to be late on site. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely, and that's the whole point. So it's bringing people, and then corrective actions can be taken before it becomes too late. So in addition to that, we have the asset data points. Like I said, so they're quite comprehensive. And also it has got analytics capabilities, so you're able to analyze the project data in terms of assets, in terms of data points, and interrogate it. So that's the honest truth. We haven't. I think we are finding that there are different routes of exploiting the capabilities of the system, and because all the information is available in one point, there is potential to extend the analytics capabilities to deal, and will be I welcome in particular the views of various ALBs and participants to share with us their views how this analytics or further analytics can help their organizations.
And presumably that could be decided on a project by project or even an individual by individual basis, what people are most interested in. One of the things which I was going to talk, and it's actually come through as a question from Hani Omar, is the point at which you embrace this technology. I mean, he says, Hani says, how difficult, easy is adopting digital twin system in running a project? I.e., should you do it at the middle of the project, or is it got to be at the start, bearing in mind the legacy naming convention? So can this be retrofitted to an existing project, or have you got to start embracing this the solutions right at the start?
Yeah, I think very good questions, Hani. I mean, this particular project is targeted at offsite. So offsite, it could be, it could be a new build. It could be retrofitting projects. So it doesn't matter. But the digital twin, it's almost like transparent here. So it's basically what it's doing. It's taking the digital asset and trying. It's like a passport. Trying, as somebody moves from one place to another, you are able to track and basically tag them. So this is what this is doing. So it's for the user. They are just able to have an up-to-date real-time overview of how the asset is what is the latest status of an asset, rather than just trying to find out through a telephone conversation or emails or whatever.
So Nick, advice to someone like Nick, for instance, is it doesn't matter whether he's planning his Piccadilly line project, his new Piccadilly line project, or he's trying to manage his existing Victoria line services. He can embrace these solutions at any point.
Absolutely. And like I said, yeah. Sorry.
But I agree with that. Was you going to say? I do agree with it in principle. Yeah. However, it's not quite that straightforward in application. My answer was going to be like most things. The earlier you adopt an approach or a something like this, the better the benefits will be. If you've got a project that has actually got real good control of its data already, then transferring that data into a model like this mid-project would give benefit. So I think the answer is it's got to be on a project-by-project basis. Some projects this won't be suitable for. Some projects it'll be absolutely almost like vital for. So I think it's got to be done on a program or project basis by basis. One thing I was going to add, which you touched on earlier, Anthony, is what level we go down to, because we could almost create a whole load of analytical data tracking actually something we don't need to. So and that's why it's got to be project specific, I feel. It creating an optimal level of where's going to add that real value for the entire end-to-end life cycle. So yeah, that's my view.
Okay, final point then from you, Nick, because we're almost bang out of time, and I'm going to come to you for the final word on this, Lamine, is what has to happen next? Nick, what has to happen next to drive this from being an academic project to being something which is of great value and of, I suppose, natural adoption to the industry?
Well, events like this, Anthony, I mean, but we're trying, the whole purpose of
no pressure there then. No.
What, pardon?
No pressure there then.
Well, great hosting, by the way. Neil will be proud. No, it's events like this and getting like-minded people who actually want to drive forward and innovate and improve performance together, like we've got on the call, like the Living Lab is creating. I mean, I've seen more collaboration across the ARBs in the last 2 or 3 years than I've seen in my career in transport. So it's events like this, but then it's people taking what is being shared and taking it back to their organizations, or having, starting these conversations from a project grassroots level, because I think organizational strategies take a lot longer to embed. We want to do this from now on. So it's just being proactive and speaking to your project teams, it's taking what we're given. That's the purpose of these exploitation events, really.
Okay, Nick, thanks very much. Lamine, final point, very quickly, what do you need the folks here on this call and the industry to do to help you deliver this into reality?
Yeah, thank you very much, Anthony, and thank you for all the attendance and finding the time to come and listen to us. So I hope I have whet your appetite with which we believe is not solution to solve all life problems, but it's definitely the path, to improve our industry, in particular with the growing adoption of off-site and construction and modern methods of construction. So the point is, I hope I gave you, like, although we didn't have time to go through all the different capabilities of the system, it gave you a flavor for what it can achieve. So I hope you give us your feedback. You give us either good or bad. That's the only way we can improve. But also, in particular, would be very keen to hear about how it can benefit your, like Nick says, in terms of the specificities of your projects.
So reach out and get involved. That's, I think, the message from Lamine, and the message also from Nick we heard as well. Reach out, get involved, and make sure that this is a project which is being designed for you and by you, not actually, I suppose, foisted upon you. So Lamine, thank you very, very much for taking us through it. It's a very, very detailed project, so it's a huge amount of work that you've been doing there with your team. So thanks for giving us a romp through it, and thanks, Nick, also for sharing your thoughts about actually how it might actually appear in practice. We're going to draw to a close the discussion around Project 9 right now. Say thanks to the speakers, and I hope you did find it a useful insight into what's going on with Project 9 about logistics. Next Friday, Neil is back. Neil is going to be back looking at harnessing data to drive cultural change linked to some outputs from projects 1, 2, and 3. And so look out for the details around that. I think you probably should have already got them, but if you haven't, look out for them. I think same time next Friday. I hope this session, as Lamine said, has whetted your appetite and will prompt you to get involved in this project. I think probably if you reach out directly to Lamine, his contact details are certainly accessible at the University of West of England. Certainly it's an issue which I think has the potential to really transform the sector, the transport infrastructure. And you're going to hear more and more about it, and certainly as this kind of technology develops. So thanks again, Nick and Lamine, for getting involved this morning. Before I go, a quick reminder of what's coming up from TIES. In this series of knowledge sharing conferences. As I say, next Friday is the final of the 4 virtual sessions, but then I'll see you again on Wednesday, the 25th of May at the first Living Labs live conference in the MTT, the Manufacturing Technology Centre in Coventry. We're going to be delving deeper into the projects and bringing their benefits to life at that session. Second conference is planned for the 13th of July, and that will continue this process of knowledge sharing. The first one is actually it's in TfL's building in London. My apologies. I think the second one is in the MTT. Certainly they're invite only, but if you haven't reserved your place, then do reach out to Emma at TIES. Space is limited. We're filling up fast, so do let them know if you can attend or you want to attend. Finally, a survey about today is going to appear in your inbox very shortly. Do fill that in. It gives us a great idea about what you like, what you didn't like, what you want to see, and what you don't want to see in the future. And I think a link to a YouTube video of this presentation will come out to you eventually as well. So thank you very much for joining us this morning. Thanks for your questions, and thanks for getting involved, and thanks to the speakers, and I look forward to seeing you all again very soon. Have a great weekend, or a great rest of Friday, and a great weekend. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.